All right, Inspire Beauty business builders. We are talking tonight all about social media. We're going to be talking about a little bit of branding. I gave you a homework assignment yesterday to watch the video about social media and just kind of like a 101 social media basics. So hopefully you guys watched that. The rest of the content on our leadership page this week is going to be in reference to that. I'm going to be posing questions based off the questions she asked you in that video. I'm going to be posing questions, challenging you to take that question and to craft it into a post. Okay, so the rest of the week, you're going to be getting a lot of attention on that. So if you have not watched that yet, it is money. She does a great job of breaking down just the basics and the ins and outs. Tonight, though, I want to dig into social media a little bit and just get a little bit more of an in-depth look with you guys, because I know for the most part, basics-wise, like if you're in the business builder page, consistency should be your jam with posting. Like, posting shouldn't be this thing that we're just like, well, I don't even know how to start or where to go. At this point in our journey, like there should be some sort of rhythm to what you do. So tonight I want to dig into just a little bit deeper of social media and branding in general when it comes to your business. So that's what we're going to talk all about. So social media is really fun because it's one of the few things we can control in our business. We can't control a lot of things, right? But we can control how we show up on social media and all this good stuff. I will tell you that one of the reasons I have the success that I have in my business is because no matter what, you guys, I show up every single day. Whether I'm having a really bad day or I'm having the best day of my life or something in between that just seems really mundane and boring, I show up anyway. I try to offer inspiration and my best to my followers, but it's that consistency, you guys, that has brought growth. So if one of the things you're feeling right now is that you're not feeling much growth in your social media, I want you to take a step back and think about, are you controlling how consistent you are? Or are there gaps in between when you post on social media? Do we see you for a stint of time and then you kind of fall off for a little bit? Consistency. Also consistency in your message. Maybe you talk about, you're on this health kick and that's all you're talking about. And then all of a sudden you talk about something in left field that you've never described to your followers before, and it doesn't like go in alignment with everything you've been sharing with them for the last month. Well, that's gonna kind of like put a wrench in things, right? So consistency also in your message is something you can control. Short intro and bio, you guys, are in this day and age, like quicker is better. Okay, so when you go to your Instagram, and I'm like in the process of really brainstorming and revamping my actual like bio profile because it's been the same for a long time. And there's nothing, I don't think there's anything truly wrong with it, but I think I could improve it and evolve since I've improved and evolved since the last time I created this, right? And I think I could actually do a little audit on that. But I think if we have this like long bio and all this stuff about us, sometimes it just gets lost. Like somebody goes to your page and think of it like, I like to think of like a dating app, right? Like people just decide really quick. I went on this app. It's a dating app, but you can actually use it for friends. It's called Bumblebee, I think. It's a dating app, totally. But you can like find girlfriends on it, and it connects you to people in your area. And on the app, you either like swipe left if you want to like get rid of them, or you swipe right if you want to keep them as a friend and like engage in conversation. And it's like, that's what you need to kind of look at your Instagram profile really quick and be like, would I want to follow me? Would I swipe right? Would I be my friend? And if the answer is no, we've got to fix that. You've got to fix, then we've got to pinpoint, okay, what is it about you that is off-putting? And this isn't like, let's take time to bash ourselves or anything like that. That's not what this is about. But let's take an honest look at what's working. And what is working for you, typically, if you like something in another person or in another coach, or you're like, that drew my eye, those are the things you probably want to put back on your page. That's the feeling you want on your page, because if it caught your attention and you liked it, duplicate that in your own way, right? Remember that it's not about you. I like to think of like going to a wedding you know, if you've ever been to a wedding that's not your own wedding, typically you spend, if you're not married yet, you might spend the whole night thinking about what your future wedding is going to look like based on their dress, based on their color scheme, based on the food they had, based on their reception. You got invited to their freaking wedding. It is about them. But it's funny how we make everything about ourselves, right? And so like we're even at someone else's wedding day criticizing and thinking of how we would do ours differently. Same thing with people. Like it's your page. Yes, it is absolutely about you, but it's also about attracting people to it. Does it attract people to you? So I want you to like really take that step back and say, it is about me, but it's not about me. I want other people to come to my page and really just be magnetized to it. I think it's important too, we can control this, to introduce yourself often. People need to know you. People want to know who you are. And if you haven't ever introduced yourself, like, hey, I've got a lot of new followers on here. I'd love to tell you 5 fun facts about myself, and give me 5 things that maybe like no one might ever have known about you. And you share those fun facts, and then you say something like, is there anything we have in common? Then people can comment below. I did that recently with a post with Charlie and myself right around New Year's, and it had so much engagement. It had a lot of likes, mainly because anytime I put Frankie or Charlie in pictures, it totally gets more likes than just me, whatever. But I put, hey there, to all my new followers, here are 10 things about us. Do we have anything in common? And then I bulleted 10 things about Charlie and myself. And at the end, I asked the question again, so anything in common? And I had so many comments. I had a lot of likes, more engagement than normal, right? And you can do that with you and your spouse. You could do that about your dog. You could do that about yourself. Anything that is part of like your wheelhouse on your page, introduce it often. I want people to think they know me, like as if we're BFFs our whole life, right? Also, it's important that when you look at your following, that it is less than your followers. You should be having more people follow you than what you are following back. And if the numbers are skewed, it's just an act of credibility, you guys, right? If I go to somebody's page and they are following 100 people, I'm sorry, they have 100 followers, but they're following 2,000. I'm like, are you okay? Like, following a lot of people, but no one wants to follow you back. Like, what's the disconnect here, right? And so I think it's important that like we really look at that number, that we always want our followers to be greater than the amount that we're following, right? Rule of thumb that I use for myself is if somebody doesn't follow me back, I stop following them, right? Because this is what social media is about. It's a two-way street. Like, it's a give and a take. If they're not going to follow me back, why am I wasting my time trying to like, hey, but by the way, like, don't forget about me. No, move on. Next. There's so many people. Like, I want to find people who actually want to follow my page back. Okay. And at the end of it, guys, the goal when we're doing the social media audit this week, and we're looking deep into our social media and saying what's working, what's not, what do I need to do more of? What should I like maybe not do as much of because it's just not working? Stop beating my head against a wall. At the end of it all, you guys, we don't want people to sign up for Beachbody. We want them to sign up for you. Anybody can go to teambeachbody.com right now and get themselves a free Beachbody coach and 30-day enrollment or whatever. Like, anybody can go do that right now. So what's the difference? It's you. They want to sign up for you. I recently had a challenger who signed up, and she told me that she had a bunch of coaches, inviting her the last couple of months, that in her wheelhouse there were, and we'll talk about that in a second, but it was more than just Brittany inviting her. But the game changer was she was so attracted to the way that I bring spirituality into my journey, and that I document my Bible studies in the morning, and that I talk about it. And that was what attracted her. It wasn't that I talked about Transform 20. It wasn't that I talked about Shakeology, or I talked about my unicorn juice. It was nothing about Beachbody. We all sold the same product. At the end of the day, the reason she said I'm buying from her was because of something I had to offer. It was me, okay? So number one, guys, vulnerability. This is huge. And this is something that I want to start seeing you guys step out of your comfort zone and start doing. It is scary to hit post on a post that just exposes you. But the reward is always, it's always worth it. I've never posted something where I've gotten more negative than positive when it came to vulnerability. And yeah, maybe I have one critic. Maybe somebody sends me a message. Maybe, right? Like that might happen. I might have a naysayer. But the people who loved on it or benefited from it far outweigh that negativity. Guys, in the beginning of this business, we always talk about warm market, like attract to your warm market, talk to your friends, talk to your family. But then when your warm market is tapped out, because it will tap out, there will come a day when your warm market taps out. They're sick of hearing from you. They've either said no or they've ignored you enough times. You have to build your cold market. And the only way to do that on a platform like this is to show them who you really are so that they can connect with you, so that they can build trust in you. Okay, they don't know who you are and your story until you tell them. And sometimes you have to tell them once a freaking week. Like if I haven't told people about, my battle with depression this week, I got to get on that. If I haven't told people about, how much weight I've gained this year and the very struggle I've been having to take that off, guys, that's not easy for me. That's not easy for me to talk as a coach about gaining weight this year. But I have to talk about it until my message of that can be something different, right? Until I have something else to talk through. Vulnerability evolves as you evolve, because this wasn't a problem that I had maybe 2 years ago, and now it's a newfound problem, right? Every season that changes in your life, you'll find a different way and a new way to be vulnerable with your people. And it'll always be scary the first time you share with them. But this post right here, I pulled this one on purpose because it's one of the first times I showed my stomach on purpose in a long time. And I have been very hesitant to show my midsection lately. And I talked about how I lost 10 pounds prepping for my wedding. And then I gained 17 pounds after the wedding, after tapering off medicine. And then just talking about what that did to my ego, talking about but that's not like how God sees me. And that's not who I really am. And like the good fight I'm fighting in the meantime. And there was so much engagement, so many people, not only just liking and whatever, loving on it, but commenting. And that's what I'm looking for. I want people to comment on my pictures and my posts as well. I don't just want the double tap. I want them to stop in what they're doing, be so affected by my words that they can't help but respond. And please know that it's on your tracker, but it says to respond to all new likes, comments, or views. I really hone in on the comments part. I think it is so important that if someone takes the time to comment on your post, that you take the time to reply back, because it's a big deal that they actually, not only did they stop their scroll to look at your picture, then they stopped even longer to read it, and then they stopped even longer to write something. That's unheard of today, right? People don't stop like that. So I think it's important that we honor that and respond back to them. Prospects, like I said a slide ago, you guys, they're probably following way more coaches than just you. It's funny. I'll go today. I went to another coach's page because I was looking at something for inspiration, and I noticed that somebody I've been prospecting, somebody I've been pouring into, somebody I've been inviting, who just recently, I think she'd be an amazing coach, amazing. And she and I have been talking back and forth, and I sent her all information about Inspired Beauty, and we just chatted through it, and it's just not the right timing for her. But I happened to notice that she commented on this other coach who was way more successful than me, commented on her post, and talk about a blow to my ego, because I was like, oh my God, all of a sudden, of course, it's like a woman. I'm like, oh my God, she's going to join her, and the comparison sinks in and all this stuff, right? And I go back to our conversations and I start thinking to myself, where did I go wrong? What did I say? But the reality is, and I had to go back to what my slides were for tonight, my prospects are following more people than just me. It's true. And the same is true for you guys. And at the end of the day, it goes back to what my newest challenger told me. They're going to pick you. It's not about picking Beachbody. It's what do you offer them? And vulnerability allows them to connect to you. So let's journal this. Let's create a clean slate for a second here. I asked you in the page this morning to talk about the 5 things, and I've done this before, you guys. When I talk about branding and this and that, I've said, okay, give me 5 things that describe you. And I asked you for that today. Thank you so much, Leah, for taking the time out of your day to comment on that and give us that information. I appreciate that. And if you haven't had a chance to do that yet, still do it. I love that. Please go in and do the exercise. But I think we've evolved. And this is funny because my message maybe even a year ago wouldn't have been this. It would have been tell me 5 things about you, and bam, 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 bam. Those are the things you talk about. That's that's what you post about in your profile, and that is your bio. Like, that's who you are, 5 things. But I think we've got to get deeper, because if I just tell you my 5 things, if I tell you it's, my relationship with Charlie, and that I'm Christian, and I'm a dog mom, and I love self-care, and I also really love like champagne and pizza and things like that. Like if I told you those things, I think that's really surface level. And I'm going to attract a lot of people who are married or newlyweds. I'm going to attract people who are dog moms. I'll attract other Christian women. I will attract women who love pizza and that, pop open some bubbly every once in a while. Like, I'll attract those people, and that's awesome. But am I going to go deep with those people? You know what I mean? Are those people going to become my people? And I think that is the start of a great conversation and the start of a great exercise for a very brand new coach. But I think you guys are at a place in your business where you need to take it a little bit deeper. So I want you to journal for a second. Write that question down. Who are you? And I want you to just like fill the page with verbs, you guys. Like, are you like give me action items of who you are, not just like the common nouns that we're going to give ourselves, like dog mom or whatever. Like, you can write that, fill the page up, but like at the core, like Brittany is a little bit silly. I'm a whole lot sarcastic. Actually, when I was doing this exercise for myself earlier, the first word that popped into mind, you guys, and I hope kids are earmuffed right now, but I thought bitchy. And I hated that I thought that, but I still have a little bitchiness in me. And like, I think sometimes the good kind, because it like pushes me a little, but I also think that like sometimes I can come across a little brash. And so like being careful of that, but like that is part of who I am a little bit. I am somebody that I love deeply. Like, I care a lot. I'm sensitive. So take a second, and I want you to just like journal. Who are you? And it's one of these exercises, you guys, you're going to get to a place where you're going to like exhaust yourself. You're going to write all the things, and then you're like, well, I can't think of anything else. That's the point where you got to dig a little more, because that's when like the magic is going to happen. That's when you're going to come with that next thing that's like, oh my gosh, like that's totally me, and I didn't even think of it this whole time. So I encourage you to actually not just stop where you are right now, but keep going. Fill the page, not right now, but fill the page, and ask. This is the other thing. Once you fill the page, take it to somebody you trust, a friend, a family member. Take it to them and say, I want you to read this, and is there anything you'd add? Like, is there anything from your perspective? Like, you know me. And again, make it somebody that you trust and that their words wouldn't totally like spiral you down to drink a bottle of wine. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. So let's dig in. The next question is, what emotions separate you? But I want to express this a little bit. Like, it's easy when we're posting to just only post about like getting this habit of like, I only want people to see like a positive me, which is great. Like, yes, they should see the positive side of you, because you can always take like a positive spin on something. But like, what makes you mad? What makes you super excited? What makes you want to get up and dance? What makes you want to fall to the floor and cry? In Michigan, I am a runner. And in Michigan, when I would run, you do this, like you're running past people, and like some runners come in the other way, and you give them the, hey, like, what I'm talking about? Anybody polite enough like that? Cool. When I moved to Miami, I realized that people stopped doing that, and that was weird to me. Like like, it was awkward because I'd like wave to people and then like they wouldn't wave back to me. I'm like, what's wrong with these people? And even living here, I don't do like the wave to people because I've learned like since like my time in Miami that like some cities just don't appreciate a good wave. They don't appreciate manners, if you will. But what I have learned is that like in this area, at least in Miami, I could make eye contact with somebody and like give them the smile at least, or the head nod, hey, and keep going my merry way. Now moving to Silicon Valley where everyone is this, no one makes eye contact when I'm walking down the street. So I don't even do the wave. And what I do as a game now is I'll look at people as I'm walking by to see if they'll look up. And so like that's something, I mean, I've never talked about that on social media, but that is something right there. Like I just poured something out to you that like I could totally talk about that because that's an emotion and I could see like who gets me on that, right? Like these are things where people would then be like, oh my gosh, isn't that so frustrating when somebody doesn't have manners? Or people who don't have manners aren't going to be my tribe. They're not going to get what I'm saying and like whatever, they're out. But this is where I can like start to connect in conversations with people that are so beyond, hey girl, right? These are things that I could do in my story. Like if I have a moment like that where I pass somebody by and they don't have the manners, I could totally get in my story. I could totally come up with a couple of 15-second videos and talk about that and maybe do a poll or a question at the end asking like, who else gets me? And that's where my tribe starts to flow in. And that's where I can have some dialogue in my inbox with them one-on-one. So that's another thing I want you to kind of journal on. Not right now. We'll keep rolling. The last thing I want you to think about, and this kind of goes back to who would you follow, is what types of posts do you comment on? And I want you to like get beyond your Beachbody bubble that we're all in. Like we love each other and I'll comment on your stuff, you comment on my stuff, and I love the love. Like Beachbody coaches are the best people to have follow you because they are the ones that will comment on your stuff every time. Love it. But then if you're in Facebook land or you're in Instagram land, what type of post is going to stop you and cause you to comment on it? And anytime I find a post that is scroll stopping for me, whether it's I loved the way they came up with that content, like I love maybe the way their emoji caught me and made me stop with that opening line, or maybe I love the shot angle, like I love the way they were holding their coffee mug in that picture and I've just never quite captured it that way or something, right? When I want to stop and engage on somebody's post, I will save it. And I've taught you guys this before, but if you're in Instagram and you are on your actual profile page, if you see in the top, there are those 3 lines at the top in the top right corner. When you click on those 3 lines, you'll see a little part that says saved. And it'll show you everything that you've saved. And I create like Pinterest boards, basically. No one can see that you've saved their pictures, by the way. This is totally Secret Sally stuff. This is like creeper stuff, right? So yeah, thank God nobody can see I saved it. But I have one that says caption ideas. I have one, like I'm always looking for new colors of hair or new hair cuts for myself, even though maybe you guys don't see like that. My hair's always up in a messy bun, but I swear I love hair. So I have a board that's for hair ideas because anytime I stop, I'm like, I freaking love her hair. Like I wanna save it. So maybe I can style my hair like that one day. I love cooking. I love recipes. So I have food ideas. Like I use this as a Pinterest board, but you can also do it like scroll stopping, like that stopped my scroll. I want to save that. And so what you do, you guys, is if you go to anything like, for example, this is the first post here, you'll see that same save flag in the bottom corner of anyone's post. You can always just hold it down. And when you hold it down, it'll pull up all of your boards. And then I just slide to like whatever board I want to save it to. Or you can just tap that save to, and it'll save it to like the general, file for anything and everything. But that's something that I do too, because if it stops me, that speaks to me, which means it's going to speak to my tribe. Yeah? Okay. Are you with me? Are we still good? Perfect. Thank you, guys. So we've talked about vulnerability. We've cleared the slate. I know in the past I've been very adamant about picking your 5 to 10 brand things and like running with it. But now I hope these last couple questions helped you to just dig maybe a little deeper beyond like, I just love dogs. Like, What makes me mad at the dog park? What makes me joyful in the morning with Frankie? Things like that. Next is showing progression. You guys, Instagram should be your fit diary. One of the questions that I got asked today on the team page when I said, ask me anything, was, I'm a brand new coach. I just want to do the discount right now. What should I be doing? My advice and this is every coach, and you guys have heard it if you've been on call after call, is the foundation is our self-care. But beyond just being like coaches for ourselves, why not hold ourselves accountable in a social platform? And so my extra bit of advice for anyone that says I'm just a discount coach is start documenting your journey as a fit diary, even if it's on an Instagram handle that you made up just for this, right? It doesn't even have to be your real one. Like if your coach is like, oh, I can't post on Facebook about that. You're like, cool, don't. Let's go make you up an Instagram handle right now. Like make them do coach behaviors, right? Because they are a coach. But I want you guys to think about that too, that Instagram should be your fit diary, but it's not the do all end all. Like I should not go to anyone's page and see sweaty selfie after sweaty selfie after sweaty selfie, because after a while it's like, well, this girl's just showing me her sweaty selfies. It's about you. It's not about what you can give to me. Remember, it's not about you. We talked about the top. Your fit diary especially can be documented in your stories, right? But in your grid, it shouldn't be the do all end all, but you should be showing your progression, transformation. If you get to your Instagram, open up your Instagram right now if you haven't, and look at your profile, look at your grid, your top 9 to 12 in your grid, whether it's like that first scroll, or if I just do even one more scroll, I should see a transformation in there. If there's not a transformation within every 9 to 12 pictures, you guys, you're not doing your followers justice, because they're not able with the algorithms, you guys. It's more about when your people are on. So when your people are on Instagram, your content is going to be put in front of their face. So if you did a transformation 2 months ago when you finished Shift Shop and you haven't done one since because you haven't completed, and I'm doing quotes, completed a program, you're following a disservice, because all of you have been showing up to your fit journey. You can have a facial difference, like a headshot difference. I'm certain you could pull your very first picture as a coach versus what your headshot looks like now. Maybe you have a transformation. You can even post past transformations, right? Transformations every 9 to 12 pics. You've got to show the progression. And here's the deal. If you're like, guys, Brittany, I'm not seeing change, you've got to change it up. If you're doing the same program or have the same habits in your nutrition or the same habits, maybe that's what's getting in the way. And so if you don't feel like you're seeing change in your journey, you've got to change it up. This week, especially while we're reading The Compound Effect, I'm like, I got to look at my nutrition. I really have to take a deep, hard look at it before I start Transform 20. I want to spend a week of just focusing on everything I put in my mouth. So I'm writing it down. Everything that goes in my mouth this week is getting written down on a piece of paper in my kitchen right in my face, so that I can see at the end of the week, oh, you're eating way more than you thought, or you're on track, or maybe this is what we can tweak, right? So you have to figure out where in your journey that maybe you need to change it up. Your cold market needs to be shown. Guys, we're visual world. It's social media. Instagram is a visual platform. Be visible, okay? Trust is built when you show up to these things. And again, like I said, we can't wait. Yeah, with the algorithms and everything, you can show up to Instagram and maybe your market isn't on Instagram at 7 a.m. when you go to post. And you're like, well, I need to wait till 10 a.m. Guys, the right time is going to be the right time. That one person that needs to see your post is going to see that freaking post, because you didn't just wait for the right time, you freaking did it. So it shouldn't be like, well, I only post at 7 a.m. this and this. No, don't wait for those perfect opportunities. Just make the time now to start on that, okay? Your story, you guys, I put story in quotes because I'm talking about your Instagram story. It matters. And I think we do a great job of this as a team. I think we're more comfortable in our stories because maybe, I don't know why, maybe we think we're hiding a little more when we're in our stories because it's not in the feed of our page. I don't know why, but when I go to check on coaches and when coaches are like, hey, can you check on my social media? Can you give me a little audit? Help me out with some things. What I see is gaps on our feed and that red circle going around our profile pic showing that we have stories happening. And so I know we're showing up to our stories, but I haven't seen somebody post in 2 weeks. That's a problem. So yes, your story matters, guys, but please, please, please make sure that it's not the only thing that matters. But the cool thing about your story is that it's a really great place to just show up, to not overthink, and to make that your daily journal, right? Like that's your fit diary. That's where you show up and you show people, like, I'm showing up today. Like lately, I've been trying to get more water intake. So I'm making my followers see that with me. They're in the trenches with me, and I'm encouraging them to hydrate themselves. And I'm teaching them along the way, like, this is what I'm doing, half your body weight in water. And so I'm kind of doing a little water challenge all week long. Okay. But it's not like, guys, also, I'm not overthinking that. That's something like when I was like, well, I drank my first bottle of water and I'm ready to drink my second one. I was like, I should tell my followers about that. And then I was like, and I should like make a poll by the time I'm done to see if they finished. That wasn't like a well thought out plan that I thought of 2 months ago and then like decided to implement now on my marketing calendar. Guys, I like thought of it that morning, like on a whim. Like, and sometimes that's what happens, and that's okay in your story. It doesn't have to be as well thought out and well oiled as maybe you want your feed to look. Because I think of my feed like a scrapbook, the best of the best, In your story, you can be weird, you can be serious, you can be silly, you could be healthy, you could be unhealthy. You get to be you, and they get to hear your voice. So that when you go to send that voice memo to them to actually like connect, when you go to invite or follow up and they hear your voice, it's actually not the first time. It's almost like a familiar friend, right? Because they've heard it in your stories. There are some coaches that like, I just love listening to your stories because I like listening to your voice because I don't get to hear it that often, right? Because when we get on these things, it's, old grandma Brittany just talking the whole time. So I love getting to hear your voices too. And in your stories, that's the opportunity that I get. And it comes back again. This is the question I'm going to continue asking about your profile, about your content, and hear about your story. Would you watch you or would you scroll past? If you are watching at the bottom and you're watching like the progression, I like to do insights in that way. I like to see like, in the bottom corner, how many people tuned into that and saw my story. And then I start to watch as it goes down and I start to see where I lost people. Sometimes you lose people because it's a gap in time and that's just normal, right? Because like the last one was yesterday and the next one was this morning. So it's a big gap in time. But sometimes you lose people because maybe you're doing too many videos where you're just talking at them and people can't turn on the audio. So they don't even know what you're talking about. So they just move on. Right? So start thinking about do honest audits of yourself. Rewatch what you post and think, would you watch this? Would you engage with this? Are you guys giving them opportunities to engage with you? Or are they just watching you and your story unfold? Or do they get to be a part of it? Right? So little gut checks. This is a great place to do sneak peeks. This is where I love to do my coach sneak peeks or just sneak peeks into coaching. The whole Transform 20 sneak peek, I gave you guys those story progressions, right, for Transform 20. And it started with you. And then it started with your transformation. And then it and then it showed other transformations. And then it told them what they get. And then it said, okay, here's how you sign up. And that I would consider like a sneak peek because you're taking them through what you have to offer. How your transformation is not the only transformation. And this is what, you get from me if you work with me. And here's how you sign up. You're giving them a peek. You can do the same thing with coaching. And guys, those things are so easy to make a template of on Canva. And then just like fill in different pictures or different text the next time around. I just duplicate them. I'll duplicate the slides and just fill in different pictures or different text a different way around, So sneak peeks. Also, when you recycle things month after month, people don't know. They don't know you've recycled it because we have attention spans of goldfish, you guys. Right? And people are more worried about themselves. And so they might have watched your sneak peek last month and don't even remember that you just posted the same stinking thing, right? So recycle stuff. And then again, polls, questions, the bar, find fancy ways. And again, find people who are doing it well and figure out how you can duplicate that in your story. If you see a poll that you're like, I would take that poll, find a way to duplicate it. And some of the best polls and best things that I see that I love to duplicate are not coming from coaches. I'll follow or I'll go peep on someone that's not a coach, but they're an influencer, and I'm going to see what they're doing. and then I'm going to take it over into my industry. So don't be afraid to do that. I think sometimes we get too laser focused on Beachbody, and we are like, well, I need inspiration for Beachbody, so I'm going to go to this other Beachbody coach. And then we all just kind of become white noise. Go to a different influencer, see how they're doing their polls, see how they're, crafting their stories, and what catches your eye. What would you stop and watch? What would you back up and say, oh, I need to watch that again because like I missed what she said or whatever. Okay, I know this is like the question of the night. Brittany, how do I find people? So we already worked on controlling like what we can control, right? Like team consistency. A lot of you said it. I'm team consistency last night. Team consistency. You got to be consistent on social media. You got to be consistent on social media. I can't say it any clearer than that. And you got to have a great message that helps people get to know who you really are and want to connect with you beyond Beachbody. But how do I find these people to bring them in? I think, and I'm going to start actually with the second bullet. I feel like a lot of times I get coaches who tell me like, Brittany, I'm just following other coaches, or I do these hashtags and then I end up getting a bunch of weird guys and coaches following me. And totally understand. And I think part of it is because think about yourself as a common person, like before Beachbody, before you had any sort of training on Instagram, the masses do not have Instagram tutorials that they follow. They just go on Instagram and they post something that they took a picture of that they thought was cool, and then they put a hashtag with it. And if I'm like my old self, I would have taken a picture of something and I wouldn't have put hashtag fitness inspiration. No, I would have put like hashtag blessed. Like I wouldn't have put something like extravagant, you know what I'm saying? And maybe the reason is because when you do hashtag searches only, you're only finding those coaches because you are honing in on things that they would be honing in on, like fitness inspiration, or like I can't use the hashtag dog mom, you guys, because it's all coaches. Like I hate it. I'm like, damn it, stop it, coaches. I want to find actual dog moms that aren't trying to sell me shakes. So maybe a better tool is to search for brands or locations near you where you can find like-minded people. For example, recently love Dave's Killer Bread. Has anyone ever heard of Dave's Killer Bread? It's pretty killer. But if I go to Dave's, let me pull it up. Dave's Killer, there it is. Dave's freaking Killer Bread has 46.8K followers. Like they got a legit following, right? I'm probably not going to go to their followers, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to like, ooh, they did some grilled cheese and tomato soup, which is totally my jam. I'm going to go to that picture. That's my jam. So somebody that loves Dave's Killer Bread, like I'm getting very specific in my person right now because they don't just love grilled cheese and tomato soup. They love Dave's Killer Bread with some grilled cheese and tomato soup. Like we're getting real specific now, but there's 721 likes on that and there's 20 comments, but I'll go to the likes and I'm just going to go down and I'm going to follow everybody that looks like a legit chick that I would want to hang out with. And unfortunately, there's a little bit of judgment in that because I have to look at their little thumbnail profile pic and decide just based off that tiny image if I love them or not. But I don't put very much thought into it. I just go down. Like if they love grilled cheese and tomato soup enough to double tap it and they love Dave's Killer Bread enough to see that in their feed, we must have something in common. Okay? So and I just started doing this. I wrote some things down in my planner today as I was doing this for you guys. Dave's Killer Bread. I get a bark box every month. Like those are my people. Like anybody else who gets a bark box, that's my person. Unfortunately, when you go to BarkBox, you are going to see a lot of dog accounts that follow BarkBox because that's totally a thing. But I can find other women who love dogs too. I love First 5 app. That's the app I use every morning for my studies, and that's where I get my devotionals from. So I can go to First 5 and I can look for people that are like me. I shop at Sprouts. I shop at Trader Joe's. Even more specific, I can do a geotag and I can go to the Trader Joe's San Jose on Coleman over here, and I can find people who've also shopped there and taken a picture and tagged that location, and I can start following those people. Now I'm following people in my area, right? So start thinking like, and it can be so small, you guys, like right here on this candle on my desk is Chesapeake Bay Candle brand. I like this candle. Maybe I'd like the people that like that. But like, don't overthink like, well, I don't know any brands, Brittany. Like literally do this and open your eyes at the things around you. What do you use every single day? What creamer do you use every morning in your coffee? Is it a very specific brand, a very specific flavor? I use a specific skincare lotion. I use Kiehl's. And so like, that's very laser focused. Look at your mascara. Look at what, like if there are things that every day, this is part of your, like, I want you to open your eyes this week. What is part of your routine that is a brand that you can now start tag the brand? Like when I wear my Fabletics leggings, I will tag Fabletics rather than just doing like hashtag leggings, hashtag like booty, like those, who's going to find me? No one's going to find me. But if I do hashtag Fabletics and at Fabletics, that's going to be a bigger return on my investment of people who are like me and love the same things that I love. Okay. It goes back though, again, once you do this and you're working on finding people and bringing people to you, you've got to have engaging posts, stories, questions, things that would allow people to comment on it. Because we want people to come in and be like, I get her. Remember, it goes back to the Bumblebee app that I was telling you when I would like go find girlfriends on this Bumblebee app when I first moved here. It takes 2 seconds for me to decide if I like that girl or not. And it's sad that that's the world we live in, right? Like I want to be like, give me a chance. I swear I'm cool. Like, you know, like, that's what I want. Like that's the me that just wants acceptance, right? And approval. But that's not the world we live in. Like I would love if everybody was like, ooh, she's cool. I'm going to follow her. But that's not what they do. They're going to take one look and be like, meh, I'm good. Right? Or they're going to be like, dang, she's kind of cute, which is what I think most people think. Anyway, I'm going to keep believing that. And then again, think shorter. Less is more. Kay Ursa talked about it on the National Wake Up Call the other day, putting our question, our call to action first and trying that out and changing things up. I talked the other day on our page about how did we, I asked people who have already signed coaches this month, how did that happen? Like how did that go down? What was the conversation? And most everybody, it was that they offered them the option to join the team when they were getting their challenge pack. I think everybody said that was the method to the madness. And I shared with you the script that I gave to my person. You guys, the script is the exact same script I gave to you. Do you know the difference? All I did was instead of putting, do you want to be a coach first? I put, do you want to join Shanti's test group first? I flip-flopped because I'd asked her to be a coach a million times and she's told me no. So I didn't put that first because I didn't want her to be like, what? She's already asking that, nope, and not read anything else, or at least process the rest, right? I wanted her to be able to read it and process it. So the first thing I put was, do you want to be a part of Shanti's test group? And then the bonuses fell through, 25% off, you get to be a part of Inspire Beauty, blah, 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 right? So sometimes it's also not in what we're saying to the people, it's the order of it. Like, play with that. Have fun with that, okay? And lastly, just a couple other brain dumps that are on my mind. This might have nothing to do with one another, but this is just a couple extra things that I wanted to add in. You got to be the coach and the client that you want to find. Julianne is actually out there right now. She's about to do her call here when I'm done, but she's out there right now. We've been hanging out today, and she said, Brittany, when you rebranded Inspire Beauty and when you changed things around, like how did you start to attract the people that you wanted? And it was like, I was the person I wanted. And so if you're like, I want business building coaches, be the business building coach, be that person. I want clients that are engaged in my challenge group, like be that person on social media so that there's a clear expectation of when they join you, this is who they're going to be. There's no disconnect. Okay. A lot of times I think people just join my groups and participate now because they don't know any different. They don't know any other way because that's all that I show them is that I am literally showing up daily. So that's what I'm teaching my people before they even step foot into my challenge group, before they even step foot into the team page. This is the expectation. Make sure, and this is something, I want to look at my profile pictures too, because they're, especially on Facebook, that's a little outdated, but make sure your profile picture, first of all, is clear. Like I clearly know that it's you. I don't have to take a magnifying glass. Because remember, again, when I'm looking for followers, it's a very tiny picture. So make sure I can clearly see that it's you. It should really only be you. spouse in it maybe, or a pet in it is okay, but try, especially on Instagram where it's so tiny, try to make it just about you because you don't have a lot of space, but also that it looks professional. And I'm not telling you that you need to go out and do like fancy stuff. Guys, just get against a blank wall and have a friend who has a good camera on their phone or whatever to snap that picture for you. Wear something that's like solid, not all cray. Like try to get something that looks professional. You don't have to go out and actually have professional photos taken, but have something that, so when somebody goes to your page, they're like, she's legit. I trust her before she's even spoken to me. That audit, do the audit often. Guys, I am constantly looking at my 9 or my 12 and saying, do I like it? Do I like it? I love using the planner app. I'm sorry, not planner, plan, Plann, plan. Because before I do a post, do you guys remember I shared with you that one website that you could put your content into, and then it would actually break up the lines for Instagram so you didn't have to do like the periods and whatnot, that one website I gave you? If you actually do it in the Plan app, it'll do that. It'll program it, auto-program it with like the right spaces so that it breaks up the text as well. So I actually don't even use that website anymore because I have that here. But what I'll do first is, see, my whole grid is here when I go into Plan. And my next post that I want to do, I did this with my wine post. I actually had 2 glasses of wine, 2 different pictures. I took a closer picture and a further away picture. And last night what I did is I put both of them in here and I was like, which one do I like the look of better? And it took me 2 seconds to say, I like the way that one looks better. Select that one. And so before you go to put a picture in, look at, do I like the way it looks in my grid? If you just put a transformation post in, you probably don't want the next one to be a transformation back to back, right? For my personal eye, if I just put in a blank white with some text on it, the next one I do, I don't want it to be blank white with just text, right? And so like being able to kind of manipulate that is really helpful in this app. And so I like to use that, but I do these audits often for myself. I'll look back at the week and I'll be like, that was a good week. I like the coloring. I like the lighting. I like the different angles. Or sometimes I'll be like, I don't really like the way that week looked. Here we go. Let's try another week, The same thing happens with your posts, you guys. Are you inspired by your content? Take the so what test. I don't know if any of you guys follow our newest top coach of the year, but she is a little bit cray-cray. And we were laughing today because we did a little side-by-side analysis of Melanie Mitro's like end of the year post and like how she was like thoughtful and inspiring and made me want to do what she does, right? And then we went to Ashley Molstead, who came in top coach this year, I believe. And there was like a post that was just like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a bitch or something like, it was like so out of like whatever. It was like no value is what I'm trying to say. It would not pass my so what test personally. Now that's her tribe. She's vibing with them. That's cool. But I want you to take the so what test on your post. Like, so what? Like, are you inspired by what you're about to post? Or are you just posting something? And if you feel stuck, that's where we come back and we do the introduction. Like, I feel stuck. Okay, introduce yourself again. Tell me 5 things about yourself that maybe people don't know, right? Or dig back into what we just journaled about who are you? What emotions make you tick, right? What gets you really fired up? What irks you to no end? And then we've got to put our blinders on. We've got to stop comparing our day 1 or our day, our year 1 to someone's year 5 or day 1,000 in this business. A lot of the questions I got asked today, truthfully, it's because of time and trying things over and over and over again and seeing what sticks. And that's what it takes. Your story too, you guys, is not boring. I hear it time and time again that people are like, well, I don't have anything to say. It's just boring. No, you're not boring. You're relatable. I'm not relatable. Sitting here all day doing Beachbody coaching behind a screen on Instagram is not relatable to the mass majority. When I was a teacher and I worked myself to the bone and then I went on and I coached at night and then I filled in Beachbody in the cracks, I was then very relatable. I am no longer all that relatable to people. So I actually have to find ways to be more relatable in my day-to-day. So you have to understand that you, like in the grind, is way more relatable to people than boring. So embrace that. And then last but not least, you guys, check out the Explore tab a lot of times to see what's trending, to see what In the Explore tab is where I will get inspo for certain things. Explore tab is if you just hit the home screen, the search button, it's typically the first thing that pops up. And a lot of times I'll get ideas for ways to take food shots. I'll get ideas on how to, take side-by-sides. There's a lot of trends with that. Sometimes fonts are trendy, just different things too. And then you can play on what's trending as well by looking at that. So that, you guys, is it. Ooh, lots going on in the chat. Let me just peek really quick. If you need to unmute and ask something, go for it. I'm just going to read through the chat. Oh, naked kids. And Natalie and Lindsay, about Dave's bread, I had never heard of it until I saw somebody, an influencer I follow her. She has nothing to do with Beachbody, and she posted like a grocery haul. When I do my grocery haul, that's where I got inspo from, is somebody else, they do their grocery haul. And I was like, I can do that, right? So I saw her do her grocery haul, and she had this like Dave's Killer Bread stuff. And I was like, I've never seen that. And then the next time I went to the store, all of a sudden I saw it because like it was on my mind. And so I got it, and it's killer. It's really good and really healthy for you. Follow with looking at their profile first. A lot of times, yeah. Because you know what? Like, I can feed them out later. If later I realize that they're a coach, I can unfollow. But in that moment, I don't want to break up my flow. I've gotten into a place where like, I'll just do that. And then if they're in some other network marketing and I find that out once we mutually follow, I can kindly exit the relationship. Yeah. Any questions for me before we wrap it up tonight, guys? That was a lot of content, so.
I think I find it really hard to say who I am. When you asked that question last night about what's one thing you want to change, and when you asked tonight, okay, I just want you to journal, start writing stuff down. I find myself being so ADD that I think of this is obvious. So I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a breast cancer survivor, I'm a whatever, that I feel, and then I get stuck because the voices in my head start critiquing what I've just said and what I've put down, which I know is me. I need to work on that. But it's frustrating.
Yeah. You know what I like to do though, Leah? And that's what I did. Like, that's why I showed you today. I wrote this because I started to have a couple that popped into my head, and it was a weird random moment that I was like, Brittany, you'll never get this back and you're going to kick yourself. So maybe open a notepad on your phone that anytime you're on Instagram, that something, because it was the Dave's Killer, it sparked it when I was scrolling on Instagram today. And so then that's when I was like, I should write that down. Right? Maybe have a designated spot on your phone that when you do have those moments in between the craziness going on in our heads, right? And you do have a moment where you're like, oh yeah, that's a brand I use all the time. I didn't even think about that. Okay, jot it down, right? That way, when you're also having those moments where you feel stuck, you're like, go to your list. Erin, let me read this. When I was when I started.
Real quick, I just wanted to answer Leah. I was going to say, like, I think you actually do a good job of this, Leah, describing, like, you don't just say I'm a wife or I'm a mom. You like show a picture of your daughter and talk about your amazing relationship with your daughter. And that makes me, your posts make me stop often when you post about things like that. Like when you posted like your feet and Katie's feet and you guys are like drinking wine, I was like, oh my God, I wish my mom was here. I'm so jealous. I love this. And I was like, I love this post. Like, I think you're saying more than you think you're saying already with who you are. Like you might just see yourself saying, I'm a mom, these are my kids. But to someone who sees that post, it's so much deeper than that. And then you can also go off that with, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about being a mom whose kids have left the nest? Like, how do you feel about a mom who gets to spend this time with her kid? The post where you said, I didn't even have to request time off from work to spend this time with my baby girl and we're working out together. Like that stopped me in my tracks too. Like those, I think you're saying more than you think you are, if that means anything.
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think that's important though, you guys, is that this tonight, whenever I do social media, I'm always nervous to talk to you about social media because I don't want you to then go do an overhaul of what's already working. Like, I didn't give this message tonight to tell you that everything sucks and everything needs to change. It's like, take a nugget from it. Like, if you pulled one thing today that you're like, I'd never thought about that. Like, let me go try that for a little bit and see how it works. Or let me take an honest look at this if you haven't in a while. But like, it doesn't mean every time I do a social media, it doesn't mean an overhaul. And I want us to like start also understanding that because I think we take like 10 steps back when we do that too, you know? Erin, in reply to your comment, I think it's important too that your followers know where you're gonna go and that you're not there yet, but you're about to watch me get there. Because when you get there, it's like what we're reading when they're like, oh, she's an overnight success. No, you won't appear to be an overnight success to the masses because they've watched you do this thing that maybe you weren't in the, like, maybe you're not where you want to be. And that's like an opening line. I'm not where I want to be, but you're about to watch me go there. And you can either come with me and ride this ride, or you can just watch. You know what I mean? The train's leaving the station is one of the things I would tell my followers back in the day. The train's leaving. Like, I'm not going to be in the classroom anymore. So you can either get on the train with me or you can stay at the station. But I'm going.
And I think it's more appealing to challengers, like to my challengers, to know that I work multiple jobs. I fit in my workouts. I've lost 30 pounds doing this. Like, this shit works. But to try to talk someone into being a coach, I feel like, and I can see this perspective, they look at me and they think like, well, you're not making any freaking money doing that. You're hustling 3 jobs. Like, why would I want that? I'll sign up to be your customer and I'll work my butt off and lose weight. But, you know, it's like, that's the part, that's where I'm kind of stuck right now. Like, I show a lot of like the good things, but I have a hard time showing that stuff because it's not appealing. Yeah. And it wouldn't be to me either. And that's why, like, if I looked at someone and saw, okay, she's bartending by night, she's owning 2 businesses right now and not making, you know, just that's what she's got to do year after year after year. Like, that's not, I would look at that and be like, nah, like, I'll just do something else. So
I think, sorry, Leah, I think it's important too. Your team is not all going to be people who want to make money.
Yeah.
My team, I want to make money, but I had to learn the hard way that not everybody has that same drive, and that's okay. And so finding other reasons why people would want to join is really important, I think, number one. But also, number two, like, not discrediting what that money is doing for you and sharing that. And like, also sharing inspiring stories from other people. Like, yeah, I just started this business, so I can't really tell you, like, you know, I can't tell you where I was and where I am because I literally just started. But my coach just gave herself an $11,000 raise for her family this year. Wouldn't that be amazing to earn $11,000? Like, that's what I want. That's why I'm working. And if that's something you desire too, come on board. Like, let's do this. But not everybody wants that. Some people want the community. Some people want the extra accountability. Some people, you know, just freaking love Beachbody and they bleed it blue.
Some people want to save $30.52 every month, which adds up to $400 or $500 a year. I mean, that's what I finally have started telling people. I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you, because you have made this commitment to yourself. Why do you want to pay full price? You don't have to do what I do. I'm not going to make you, but you might change your mind like I did, because almost 3 years ago, I said I'd never do this. But all of a sudden I'm loving it and I'm passionate about this. So why would you not want to save the money? And more times than not, I've heard no less than 5 times from my current customers who have said, I'll still think about it. I'm not ready to do that yet. Thank you for trying to save me the money. Everybody else, I want to say for the most part, has said, yeah, why would I pay full price? So maybe go that way. I mean, I know it's not going to build the team of money building coaches that you want, but maybe they'll change their mind. You know, I don't know. I know. I hear you. We got this. We do.
At the end of the day, you guys, all roads lead to coaching. All roads lead to coaching, right? And that's got to be like our MO. That's got to be what it is. It's like they should be so in love with your challenge groups that they want next level. you know, and that's the thing too. It's like, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free sort of thing? Stop giving your people all of you then. Give your coaches all of you, and then give your challengers maybe a little bit less, because then it's like, well, actually, yeah, I do offer this. It's like to the person, I think I read this in a different team page, but there was somebody asking about, you know, I have these people who are in my free group and they keep asking me about like my meal plans and stuff, and if I can provide them with that. And somebody had replied and said, hey, listen, like tell them flat out, absolutely, that is a service I provide, but I provide it to my challengers. Right? And like, hey, I'm looking for like a new book to read. Oh my God, you know what? That's a service I actually provide, but it's part of my team. And we do it every month. And we actually connect weekly on the book that we're reading. Like, I'd love it. You know, like, make it like the thing they want to reach for. Like, don't give them everything.
Dangle the carrot.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for tonight. Tonight was a lot. My brain overstimulated at the moment, but not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of you, ladies. Thank you so much for being on tonight. If you guys have more questions on anything I talked about, or if you're like, Brittany, I want an honest look at some of the things I'm doing, like, never hesitate to reach out because I don't mind. But you know, I always say I'm not a mind reader, so I don't know what you need until you tell me. But I do have Erin down for Thursday, I think. If any of you guys still want to chat on Thursday, I'm hosting one-on-ones, 30 minutes for each of you. So if you've changed your mind on that, just make sure you let me know so I can plug you in for a time. Cool? Okay. All right, ladies. Well, I think Julia needs to start her call here. I hear her out there like kind of getting ready. So I'm going to switch spots with her and let her go. But thank you so much. Have a good night, okay?
Okay, good night.
Thanks.